good evening to you and welcome to Your Space with your host, Hannah Arinitu. I am super excited because today is a season finale of Your Space Season 2. And it's very special because I got the ability to get the entire gang, the original gang, back on the space. Some of you maybe do not know who are these people, so I'll allow them to introduce themselves. Hello to the lady at the extreme end. How have you been? Give us a life update.
Hello, Hannah. Hi, viewers. Good evening, everyone. I'm very happy. My name is Monica Chayo. I've been great, Hannah. Technically, it's been school for me, really. LDC, then adulting, nothing much in the lifestyle.
What about you? Hello and welcome to the show.
Hello, Hannah. Hello, viewers. Welcome back, Monica. I think
we've missed her on the show.
Yes,
we have.
Yes, we missed you, Hannah. And sorry, we missed you, Monica. Thank you for coming. And it's been Easter, Eid, everything beautiful, everything eating, everything being excited. I'm very happy to be back on set. Thank you for having me.
Yeah. Hello, Doctor. How have you been?
I have been well, thank you, and good evening, viewers. I am Patricia Chano Kiria. I've been like the permanent member here on the show. But indeed, I'm very happy to see Monica back here as well. She said she has been suffering in LDC. I said, if it is suffering, I think it's good suffering because she has come looking good and all glowing. The power of the book.
The power of the book. Well, it's been a lovely, lovely season, honestly, all the way from hosting a good number of people, different young people in different fields, from sports to music to drama, you know, politics and all these different things. But I think it wouldn't call it the end of the season if we all didn't have highlighting episodes. What was that episode that really touched your heart and, you know, created a large impact? Now, if you are watching us, please feel free to answer the question and tag us at Your Space Uganda on Twitter and on all social media platforms. Dr. Patricia, I'll begin with you. What was like your biggest highlight this season?
My biggest highlight, especially on Your Space Season 2, has been about promoting values, specifically focusing on the right to the environment, the right to respect to human rights and the environment especially. And what was captivating about it is the fact that the technical people who are working with the environment came here and shared their testimonies and made a call to action for everybody to be involved in protecting the environment. And I tagged it along with your brother's keeper. Yes. Because if you love your brother and everything about your brother or sister, then you will also think about the environmental related issues. And my eye was focusing on the implications on the fight against corruption, especially on the environment, in terms of resources. So the episode basically was looking at empowering, equipping, skilling the young people out there with knowledge on how to take care of the environment, on how to preserve and protect the environment, but on how to be keen also on the fight against corruption, which basically has effects on the environment. And like we see environmental degradation, climate change. Recently we've had lots of flooding in the world in different parts, also in places like Dubai where the sea is flowing on the streets, and then in Bududa the landslides, and here we are blocking our drainages with bottles, with polythene. So I saw that as a serious captivating conversation which everybody out there should implement, especially to protect your neighbor and the environment within which you live with your neighbor. Because if your neighbor is affected, then you as well are affected. So I liked it when we said we are our brother's keepers. Yes.
Definitely. A big shout out to Howard Mwesegwa, who is also a climate activist, very known climate activist, lawyer as well. A big shout out to you for taking the time to come and share from your youth perspective. Now, I think we'll go to Monica. Which one was your favorite highlight in this season?
Thank you. I've had very many favorites. The climate part was also one of them, but I want to over-reiterate since she has already shared on it. But I also liked the fact that the conversation surrounding climate was brought to us. This is something that affects everyone, but it seems like a very distant conversation. Like,
Yes.
let those who are most affected speak about it. But then the wave hit, and then all those things that happened.
The heat wave.
Yes,
Remember the heat
when
wave?
That was
Early
a
of
lot.
this, it was
That
so,
And people-
so hot.
Actually, there is a story that South Sudan had to close schools because of that heat.
Yes.
And I feel like in relation, that helped us see a lot and
Yeah.
understand our responsibility in all this. So when Howard joined us and then we had that full-blown conversation, personally, I was very captivated. But then just to add on also, there is an episode where we were talking about empowering the youth in workspaces and working on work ethics and all that. I am heavy on work ethics because I feel like there are also certain characters that I wouldn't be comfortable either being paired with or employing because of certain things. So you can be, your merits can take you to a place, but your ethics keep you there. And it opens more doors for you. So I feel like the fact that that was a conversation that we had, especially with the youth that are coming, it was something that I feel like it's a mentorship kind of thing, and your space is really serving its purpose
And
to
big
that
on
effect.
mentorship.
Yeah,
Very, very big
it
on
was a
mentorship.
lot. You can't find it written in books, but the fact that the conversation was here and available for everyone to tap into it, it was a very good idea, and I enjoyed
Who
it.
was it that we hosted for that? I don't know.
I don't remember the name.
Yeah.
But maybe just to chip in, I went for the International Women's Day commemoration. And a stranger came to me and gave me a medal. And the stranger said,
What?
I love your programs on your space.
Wow.
You're touching the young people, you're creating a lot of
God.
impact out there. For that, I got this medal at Uganda at 50. I am giving it to you. So now I have 2 medals. The gift one and the actual.
That's
May
amazing.
May the God of being ambushed by strangers
And also,
overtake us.
and also today when you walk on the streets, many people greet you because your space now has given us a lot of exposure, especially the young people. Yes.
I think for me, this is the kind of feedback I always thrive on because I've also experienced this in person, where I've gotten so many messages online in my DMs, people saying, oh, Hannah, how about having a conversation on this? How about having a conversation on this? How about highlighting this person to come onto the show and give us this perspective? And I think that is why this space really exists. It is your space.
Your space.
So how about you, Joel? What has been that highlighting episode in season 2 that really caught your attention?
Okay, first of all, season 2 in itself was dynamic and the panel was diverse. I think we opened the gates very wide and we allowed in people. So in my understanding, when we got to open these doors for other people to come in, the public out there, they felt like they are more involved. So the show was more sinking in. So I feel like episode 2 was much more of a pace setter on where we are going. So
Which one was episode 2?
Yes.
I know I'm the host of the show, but sometimes I forget. Especially when I've done too many episodes. So,
Yes.
yeah.
So first of all, I would like to appreciate you so much for widening the panel. Yes, specifically on that episode of environment, I wanted to, really that's sunk in so well.
deep, yeah.
Yes, so well. But also, when it came to ethical leadership, I remember that episode so
loved it.
well.
I
Yes.
loved it.
We got a very brilliant lady. I'm trying to sketch the name, and she was sharing her experience.
Cheslin.
Yes,
Cheslin,
was it? Yes, was it?
Cheslin,
Yes.
yes.
A wonderful lady, and she was sharing her experience, how people like Dr. Patricia, I'll use the example because she's close to us, Dr. Patricia, how they play a big role in mentoring the young people, in inspiring the young people. And then after that, we went into conversations of trying to find out what challenges do young people face in the fight against corruption. Yes, we realize, yes, we have all these solutions. We have all these answers at our disposal. But what really is stopping the young people from participating the way they are supposed to participate? So I think it really opened up the space, especially with the diversity of the panel. You know, we may be here, but people out there have brilliant ideas.
Fantastic
Yes,
ideas.
fantastic ideas. Then people like Oremo, honestly.
One of another favorite on the show.
honestly, my highlight for him is this.
Wait, I don't remember this. I don't remember this.
It was in some episode where he did it. It was like they just come to the office and they
remember.
just do forever.
Hannah, I think this Your Space has really helped us to educate people on values, to understand the role of values such as integrity, respect, and responsibility, which is very crucial in our day-to-day lives, and even for the young people out there, because we see it getting deeper, especially in respect to them being knowledgeable on some of the issues, knowledgeable on their role specifically in the fight against corruption, knowledgeable on aspects of leadership. It has helped to create awareness about the significance or the importance of values and their impact, especially even on personal life, because the examples have come in vividly. I liked the way we were talking about income inequality, and this young lady, whose name I keep forgetting, from TESO, Aloy Keane gave her personal testimony and experience in hospital when she gave birth, and because of the facilities, the equipments were not there, she had to wait for some hours before they could bring the stitching threads to stitch her. So you then feel the impact of corruption out there and take it wholesomely in your heart and say, no, this is a people's war. Everybody must join hands in fighting corruption so that nobody else suffers again, like our own friend and colleague Aloy Keane, who had to go through that experience in hospital. Yes.
The diversity of the conversation this season has actually been one that has touched my heart immensely, because most times when we talk about corruption, we're only thinking about, you know, embezzlement of funds or like, you know, looking at the big offices, but we forget that corruption actually affects us even on our own personal levels. So having these different young people come in and share their experiences, I think for me really opened my eyes the more. Sometimes we talk about things, but we really haven't experienced them. You haven't really seen somebody who has experienced, you know. Now, for example, like the episode we had on with Aloy Keane Price, I think for me that was one of those personally touching experiences. Now, as much as I've asked you guys what your favorite was, I think for me, my favorite episode was the one where we had influential social media influencers on the show. And they were giving us this insight on how we could actually use our platforms on social media to preach this message of integrity, to preach this message of, you know, anti-corruption. And I think for me that was one of my favorite episodes, not because I love social media as an individual, but because I love seeing such brand new ideas. Like, you can use this platform away from, you know, going to court all the time. You could save somebody from doing the wrong thing.
And we have actually woken up as activists. We are now using social media a lot to create awareness and engage with young people on Twitter, on different spaces. And some of us who came from the P.O. Box era, this has been an eye-opening for us to get to know how to use the social media platforms to engage with people. Yes.
So let's take a break. We're going to be right back in just a second or two. Welcome back from that mini break. You are still here on Your Space with your host, Hannah Arinita. We are still celebrating a season finale for season 2 of Your Space. And I just shared a couple of highlights for this season. But now I'd really want to know from you as well, what were your highlights? Tag us on Twitter at YourSpaceUG, Your Space Uganda. Now, when it comes to maybe a lesson, now we had so many experiences during this season, but what takeaway did you get? I think I'll start with Dr. Patricia. What takeaway did you get from this season? What lesson did you take away from this season? Even as much as you're somebody who is seated in office every day, handling these, did you learn anything?
Well, there were many lessons to learn from this season 2. First of all, we learn about empowerment through values, because much as we were having the conversation of values, we learned that when individuals out there embrace the values, then they begin to align their beliefs, they begin to feel empowered, and they begin to stay true to themselves and also set values and goals and work towards achieving them. So I saw it as an opportunity for us to even take this a notch higher, especially in preaching values. And for me, it gave me a lot of exposure, especially on engaging with the young people. I got so many invitations that are even still coming. We would like you here, we would like you there. And that is how we found ourselves in Joginsa, talking about empowering young people with integrity and values. So we then get to understand and get to engage constructively on values. We get to see how we can even strengthen relationships built on trust to promote unity even amidst diversity, hinging it on values and how to fight against corruption using the values. Lessons learned: one, foundational issues. We get to see that if these values are inculcated in a young person while they're young and growing, then they grow with it. And that is the reason the Bible says that when you train a child in the way of the Lord, when he grows up, he does not depart from it. When we train that young person on values, when he grows up, he will not depart from it. Values will be part of him, and he will be there to foster and also be able to impart these values on others. Then take away from me impact on society. I discovered that when a society prioritizes issues to do with values, especially in the education, then they will also begin to spread it around, to engage around values, which will cultivate that culture of love, of compassion, of tolerance, and of collaboration, which is very important. And this basically can lead to reduced conflicts and even improve on the well-being of people out there, and even sustainable development, because when you look at both the individual and society, this basically would contribute to sustainable development, because one, we will have more responsible people who are knowledgeable, who can demand for accountability from an informed perspective. So I am looking forward, Hannah, to take this a notch higher to season 3 and continue engaging with the youth and empowering them so that we can contribute to that national development with a mindset change. Yes.
What about you, Sakwa? What do you think was your biggest lesson from this season?
Thank you so much, Hannah. This season, you realize that with the increased diversity, we had several experiences that were shared. And if you take them to heart, most of them were really sad. Okay? And I say that with the utmost compassion to the people that shared their experiences. And okay, this got me thinking. I said, wow, this is how far it has gone. Okay? I remember one episode, a dear good lady came around and shared how
Patience Nwagaba.
sex for
sex
for an opportunity.
Yeah.
I was on the set, but I was shaken. I said, wow, this, not like I was wondering
that it's gone this far.
Happening,
yes, and looking at people's age, you even wonder, now if this person she's in her 20s, and this is what she has already gone through, how much worse can it get as they grow older? So personally, this has been, I've come to a conclusion that ethics are not an option. Ethics are not an option. We are touching lives, livelihoods, the economy. People are broke because we have deliberately refused to enforce these ethics. So personally, this season, it has been the experience from the community. Whereas we may have our own stories, but we have seen your story as well. The people that have been on these panels have represented you. And personally, that has been the most touching thing, at least for this part of my life that I've lived. Because you cannot imagine the kind of decay that is in the community if you don't have a picture of what it is from these stories. So if you've not really watched this, kindly find them on YouTube and watch them, because there is no way I can really explain
Are you
the
crying? Are you crying,
magnitude.
Joe?
No.
Bring it out with a lot of passion and feeling, yes.
No,
That's
but
the
for me
reality.
personally,
The reality.
I see, I, you know, and the truth is you can never know. Some people are actually shielded. They don't know that these things are happening.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I think it was really necessary for us to bring these stories to life. What about you? I see the concern on your face, Monica.
Because I'm really in relation with
With
him.
that.
The lessons, because this season I've done more of the viewer part, like I've listened more and I've learned more from the episodes that keep going. I'm like a local fan here. So in relation to what he has said, I was also, because you see season 1, we were teaching people, you know, like what are the values? Do you know we have values and all those things? But then season 2 took us so deep to the fact that, okay, the persons that were brought on the panel in relation to the stories that were given and also the challenges that we're facing as a country, you realize it's so personal. The conversations you're having, there are so many people who are thinking like you, Hannah. There are so many people who are thinking like Joel, so many people thinking like Doctor. And this platform gave us all a chance to like meet and voice out what we feel in the inside of us. So for me, my greatest take home from season 2 is that yes, we have recognized there is a fight, and the beauty of it all is that we have people willing and ready to take on the fight. So I really see it as season 2 made me, it widened and broadened my thinking to understand that yes, we have a fight. There are people ready to fight. If we continue steering in the right direction, our children will definitely have a very different story. And we will have the opportunity of raising kids and birthing in a Uganda that is so different from what we're living in. But it is not a one-man journey. It is not a one-person fight. You can't have one soldier pioneering this whole thing. It makes so much sense when we add our voices together and speak even louder in the different places that we are at. So that you're not on the panel, but you've related and you've had these things are happening. So extend to your next neighbor. First of all, be the doctor in the hospital who will make sure that doesn't happen or under your watch. And also those around you, make sure that it doesn't happen to them or something like that. So if we can create a chain from these stories and other experiences that we have picked from this season, then definitely season 3 is going to be more of achievements and looking back to, we had this problem in season 2, but look how far we've gone in season 3, and look at the places we've impacted. Look at the people who are coming up with testimonies saying that you guys came out, you spoke about this, and it was really worked upon.
And I think my lesson as well really reflects alongside that. I've seen the importance of a ripple effect. Like everything you do has a consequence, has that kind of effect. If you decide to stand for integrity, if you decide to stand against any form of corruption, it's going to influence somebody the positive way. But if you decide to be that person that is going against the rules, is going against the morals, then that is also going to affect somebody near you. I've seen it within all the stories we've had, whether it's on climate, whether it's on music, whether it's on politics, we've seen that ripple effects actually happen.
Hannah, I wanted to just make a comment on leaders. We tackled leadership, but you will note that leaders play a very significant role, especially in the fight against corruption. And for me, my takeaway, it was to help me position myself like this troop commander who is going for war. Going for war against corruption. You know, when you go for war, you have to scope the enemy very well and know what tricks the enemy is using. Season 2 helped us to scope the enemy and look at the tricks the enemy is using. Going forward with season 3, we need to reposition ourselves and come up with the strategies on how to deal with corruption, because we need now to begin singing victory songs. We have done lamentations, we have moved from lamentations, and now we are taking hope. So season 3, I think, will help us pass a message of hope and constantly remind the people out there about their role in the war against corruption. But it has been very captivating. And
It
very
really
touching
has.
as well.
Please feel free to share your experiences as well on Twitter at YourSpaceUganda. We'll be able to share those the next time we get to come onto air. Now we're coming to the close of the show. I think, honestly, let's just make a pledge. I make a pledge that we shall continue to push the fight against corruption right from the root. I don't know what your pledge is, Doctor.
My pledge is that I will go deeper as a troop commander to lead the troops who are the young people out there in the integrity campaign against corruption in this country.
What is your pledge?
I pledge to align my life and responsibilities with the fight against corruption.
What is your pledge, Monica?
My pledge is to be the loudest in the room where there is corruption.
Okay,
To
yes.
be available
I love
at all
that.
times.
Yes.
So let us know what your pledge is come season 3. We've had a fantastic time with you here. Once again, I have been your host, Hannah Arinitwe, right here on Your Space. See you again next season. Bye-bye.